Hej, velkommen til. Jeres mikrofoner og jeres kamera vil være slukket under hele webinaret her. Webinaret vil blive optaget, sådan som at dem, der ikke kan være med i dag, de kan se det. Det vil være åben i en måned her efter webinaret er afholdt, og så vil det blive lukket ned igen. Jeg sørger lige for at give lidt flere adgang her. Der er lige så stille, kommer der flere og flere på. Chatten er jeres adgang til at kommunikere med os her i løbet af webinaret. Så I er velkommen til at skrive spørgsmål eller kommentarer. Sidst i webinaret så gennemgår vi spørgsmålene. Det taler vi om igen senere, når vi går i gang her. Der er lige 1 minut til. Men I kunne starte med at skrive en lille hilsen inde i chatten måske. Skrive hvorfra i landet I sidder og kigger med. Måske kunne I skrive lidt om, hvor mange Kenevo-brugere I har set til dato. Eller om solen skinner, eller det regner. Vi giver den lige 1 minut til. Vi skal have lidt flere på. Christian, fik du den til at fungere med de andre? Nej, det kan jeg se på dit ansigt. Den lykkedes ikke helt.
Jeg er i tvivl. Jeg prøvede at sende et nyt link over på min sms om, hvorvidt det virkede. Har jeg ikke lige fået svar endnu, så de sidder nok og sveder over, at de ikke kan komme ind.
Ja.
Og i det tilfælde, og det er selvfølgelig super træls, og jeg tror, vi alle sammen har været der, at det driller lidt, men så er det jo fint, at vi optager det og kan fremsende det til dem.
Ja. Helt bestemt. Nå, nu er klokken blevet 12. Christian, du får ansvaret for at lukke flere deltagere ind. Så går jeg i gang med at byde velkommen. Så, kære alle, det er fedt at se så mange ved skærmene derude med makrelmad og hvad I ellers har gang i her i frokosten. Men velkommen til vores meget spændende webinar omkring Kenevo-knæleddet for tobak. Vi er virkelig glade for at kunne byde jer velkommen til denne her session, hvor vi dykker ned i mulighederne med det her meget avancerede knæled, proteseknæleddet. Webinaret i dag det afholdes i samarbejde med Otto Bock og med Sava, og vi er virkelig stolte af, at vi kan præsentere Tommy Svensson, der er specialist og bandagist, eller som man siger i Sverige, ortopædingeniør for Otto Bock. Han vil guide os igennem dagens oplæg. Oplægget kommer til at foregå på engelsk. Hvis det giver nogle udfordringer i forhold til fagtermer eller lignende, så skriv det inde i chatten, så skal vi sørge for at få oversat eller få forklaret nogle af de fagtermer undervejs. Det er også chatten, I skal bruge til at skrive spørgsmål eller kommentarer. Det er Christian Langhorn, min kollega, der styrer chatten i dag. Og til slut i sessionen, så svarer Tommy på alle jeres gode spørgsmål, ligesom I vil få vores 3 vigtigste tip i forhold til Kenevo-knæleddet. Igen, tak fordi I vil være med i dag. Og så er det jo bare nu at se frem til en spændende og lærerig session. Jeg hedder Paulette Larsen, og Tommy, ordet er dit.
Oh, thank you. So I will continue in English, just so you understand me. I'm working as a product specialist now, which means that I have I'm dealing with everything with lower limb prosthetics, education, problem solution, and things like that. And I'm glad to be invited for this meeting. So I will try to hold a overview over Kenevo, what it means to have a Kenevo. So I will share my screen. And I guess you can see it. I can see it, but Christian and Paulette, can you confirm that yeah. So we have called this an introduction to the Kenevo prosthetic knee joint. Otto Bock has experience of microprocessor knee since around 97, 98. So we have Kenevo for the lower mobility, and then Sealer, Genome, and Genome X for the little bit higher activity levels. And Kenevo has been on the market now for 10 years, so we have a lot of experience, and it has also been some updates on the knee joint. So the goal when creating Kenevo was to make a knee joints with the functionalities for lower mobility amputees. So it has nothing to do with age, it's only the needs that you as a user has. So when we're talking about prosthesis, we can talk about walking on even ground, uneven ground, the stairs, whatever. As long as we don't feel safety, we can recognize the safety of the knee joint, we won't be able to use the prosthesis. So safety, 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 that's the most important thing for a prosthetic knee joint. And it's also, you need to rely on your prosthesis. It must be consistent. If you have fallen with your prosthesis and then you will only be waiting, when will I fall the next time? So relying on the prosthesis, and the prosthesis need to do what it's supposed to do and be safe. When we're talking about gait cycle, we have the stance phase. In this phase, the knee joint needs to be stable, not buckle at the wrong time. We also have the swing phase, where we also need safety. So, for example, if the knee joint gets stuck on a carpet, a stone, a threshold or something, it needs to be safe. And what makes the Kenevo really special is to find this little time in the gait cycle where the knee joint is allowed to open. If it's too early, then it will buckle. If it's too late, then we come with a swing too late. So it's the timing for opening the knee joint is crucial for the prosthesis to work. What's also happened, what I was mentioned before, is during stance phase, the knee joint is controlled by the electronic, but it's also controlled during swing phase. So if the knee joint gets stuck on, like I said, a carpet or something, it is not locked, but it's controlled dampening in the knee joint. The possibility with Kenevo is that we can put it in different modes. So we have a locked mode, we have a semi-locked mode, and we have yielding mode. And it's very easy to change between these different modes, not as a patient, but as a trained physiotherapist or a prosthetist. We have the right tools to change between these modes. We will talk a little bit about what they are doing. We also have an app for the user. The app, what the user can do on the app is to see a little bit about the step counter, some function, depending on which mode we have the knee joint in, can be switched on and off. You can also see as a user the charging status on the knee joint, and also that various feedback signals can either be turned on or off. So you have, as a user, if you want, it's not needed, but if you want, then you can use an app. A little bit about the technology in the knee joint, because it is a microprocessor. It has a battery. It has sensors. The sensor sending data into the little main electronics, and that's also how the knee joint, when it should open and when it should not open. So some parameters what we count here, and inertial motion units, that's a combination of accelerometer and gyroscope. That means that the knee joint knows if it's going forward, backwards, up, or sideways. So the knee joint knows where the user is going, in which direction. Of course, this we need to charge the knee joint, and it's really easy to get the charging status. It's only to turn the knee joint upside down, and if you got 5 beeps, then you know it's above 80%. I used to say, to keep it simple, I used to say that every beeps counts for 20% charging level. So if the knee joint beeps like 4 times, then we know that we have nearly a fully charged knee joint. Also, feedback signals, especially if the battery goes empty, we forget to charge the knee joint. The knee joint will go over in the empty battery mode. It's also the safety mode. It will not be free swinging. It will not be locked, but we will have a high dampening in the knee joint. So it's safe to use, to walk with. You can handle the situation in a safe way if the battery goes empty. So a little bit summary of the knee joint. We want the knee joint to be a natural part of the user. So the focus should not be on the knee joint, and also the greater acceptance of the prosthetic device, because you will hopefully you will feel that you can do what you want to do. And maybe reduction of walking aids. Of course, if you have 2 crutches and you can have and you can go down to 1 crutches, that means that you will have 1 hand free for carrying things. So that's also what we can hope for. There is on YouTube. YouTube is a source for really much information about the knee joint. So Otto Bock has its own YouTube channel, and basically what you do is when you go on YouTube, you just type Otto Bock and Kenevo, and then you will get a lot of different training movies. There are some functions. I will not go through every of them, but the function that we have in the knee joint, they are always active. We don't need to turn something on or off in these. They are just waiting for the input. And especially the supported sitting down, standing up. That means when a user should sit down, there is a movement pattern, so the knee joint knows when to bend. But that means also that you can use your both leg when sitting down, so you will be down in the chair in a safe way. The knee joint is it's an advanced knee joint, but it's also dumb. It's really dumb because the knee joint itself doesn't take any decision. What we need is the criteria from the sensors in the right moment, then it will open. So it's in that way, the knee joint is really dumb, but it's when they got input from the sensors, if you, for example, will sit down, then it will open. We also have a stance function. We can also call it a relief function. So in mode A, B, and B+, the knee joint is locked, so when you're standing, you can rely on the prosthesis. In mode C, the knee joint will also lock when standing still, so we can weight shifting more weight over to the prosthesis, so we have a relief of the other leg. We will see a little bit about what A, B, and B, and C+ is doing. We also have the intuitive bicycle ergometer function. So, for example, if they are at a training on a training session, being on a static upright bike, it's very good for the body to get some heart rate, and it's intuitive, which means you basically go up on the bike, start cycling, and the knee joint will understand that, okay, this is cycling, and it will open. It will be a free swinging knee joint. When you are done with the cycling, you go off, and it instantly knows that this is not cycling anymore. It's walking mode, and it will be safe to stand on. So the different modes. In mode A, the knee joint is totally locked. We don't have any, the knee joint will not go over to swing phase. And so it's a locked knee joint. We only have the sitting function that we can activate. In mode B, the knee joint is locked at heel contact, locked during the whole stance phase, but will go over to swing phase. It's a huge difference to walk with a knee joint that's open in swing phase and swinging a little bit back, because you don't, if you're walking with a locked knee joint, you have to compensate with your body so you can get the knee joint front to the next step. But having a knee joint that's going into swing, that means that you also don't need to compensate when walking. B plus is the same as B. That means that we have, and B plus means that we have 10 degrees of initial flexion, not completely straight knee joint, but it will also lock on 10 degrees. So it's the same as B, but we have a little bit bouncing of 10 degrees in the knee joint. In mode C, what we call a yielding mode. Yielding is bending under load at a controlled manner. That means also that the user in mode C has the possibility to walk alternately steps down a stairs or going down a slope with a bending knee joint. So if you recognize it, mode A, we have a locked knee joint, we have the sitting function. Mode B, we have a semi-locked knee joint where we go over to swing phase. So I would say in B and B plus is where we have most of the users. They feel confident of having it locked at heel contact. And also when you come to mode C, then you have the possibility to walk downstairs and slopes. And of course, that demands a lot of training for it. So if you come to that part, training is crucial for the knee joint or for the user. So what do I have to do? We have to see, and the most important thing when walking with a microprocessor knee is that we can take step over step. That's the most important thing. So alternative steps, then we have a happy guy. Then we can choose the B or B plus. Next question will be, will the patient accept these 10 degrees of knee flexion? Some do, some feels a little bit insecure of it or doesn't feel the need of it. And then of course we're staying in B. But if the users are happy with it and we have described the function, then we can go for B plus. That means also if you have a shallow ramp, that can be, these 10 degrees can be used for walking in shallow slopes. We have the patient in B plus. Can he accept, or has he she or he has the user a need for the yielding mode where they can walk in downstairs? Then we can go over to C mode. What the physiotherapist who has been certified for this, they have the Kenevo ABC app, where during the training session, they can switch between these modes. They can change the little bit of the dampening when the knee joint, for example, is sitting down. That's the stance phase flexion resistance. So that can be adjusted a little bit. there are also some acoustic feedback signals that we can put on. I don't know if it's possible to hear. We weren't so successful when we tested this, but sitting down to get this little feedback signal is really easy when training, because when you get the feedback signals, then you know that you're doing it in the right way. So it's a good training, and we can have several different things that we're looking at. We can see, for example, how much load you're taking on the prosthesis and so on. So it has become a good training tool for rehabilitation centers. So that was my introduction to Kenevo.
Fantastisk, Tommy. Mange tak for meget information på meget kort tid, så jeg kan godt forstå, hvis I derude sidder og har lidt åndenød, fordi der er rigtig mange ting, at Kenevo-knæleddet kan. Nu er ordet dit, Christian, fordi måske er der kommet nogle gode spørgsmål i chatten, og ellers så er det jo i hvert fald ved at være tid til det.
Ja, det er ved at være tid. Der er faktisk ikke kommet så mange spørgsmål i chatten, men jeg har fået et par spørgsmål fra nogen, der ikke kunne få chatten til at fungere, som har sendt mig en sms i stedet for. Og sådan er det jo så godt, når man efterhånden har en hvad kan man sige, udvidet sit telefonnummer til det meste af Danmarks amputationsfyser. Så der er en, Tommy, som skriver og spørger, hvordan vurderer man, om en amputationspatient skal have Kenevo eller sigelæg? Har du en holdning til, hvornår det er det ene, og hvornår det er det andet?
I think it's of course, it's really important to look at the situation for the user and especially what they need. The big difference between Kenevo and sigelæg is which walking speed you can use the needle or the prosthesis with, how fast you can walking, and also if you have the need for my modes, for example, if you're playing golf, for example, or something. So, but if you don't have the needs for my modes, and you have a not too fast walking speed, then I usually recommend Kenevo, because we have a lighter knee joint in Kenevo. I think it's about 250-300 grams lighter knee joint, and what we also have, that we have the possibility. You should always test the knee joint. So if you are not really sure, start with Kenevo, test that for 2-3 weeks, and then we can test the sigelæg for 2-3 weeks and have the patient decide, together with a physiotherapist, the bandagist, together what's most appropriate knee joint will be.
Ja, det er super, Tommy. Tak for dit svar. Så har jeg fået en anden sms, hvor der er en, der skriver, Cockpit-appen, den app, som protesebrugeren selv kan have på sin egen telefon, kan de sætte lyde på knæet til og fra?
They can activate some functions, not all, but some function, and that's also depending if we have the knee joint in C mode, B or B+, can depend a little bit. But some function can be activated by the user themselves.
Så for eksempel den her bip, som den siger, når man aktiverer det, som man kalder for stance release, altså at knæet åbner til svingfasen, har de mulighed for, lad os nu sige, at den har bandagisten aktiveret, da de gik videre til fysioterapien med deres knæ, fordi det måske var vanskeligt for dem, og så over tid, så er det ikke vanskeligt længere, og så har de lært teknikken, og så er de trætte af at høre på det her bip, kan de så selv slå det
Yes.
fra, eller skal de forbi bandagisten? Okay.
No,
så den
the
kan de godt slå fra.
the beep signal or the feedback signal when going into swing, that can be activated or deactivated by the user in the cockpit app. So just that function can be activated.
Perfekt.
Ja.
Det er umiddelbart de 2 spørgsmål, som jeg har modtaget fra brugerne. Og samtidig så kan det jo være, når det er et hæsblæsende tempo, at man er bange for at stille spørgsmål, som man ikke ved, om der er blevet svaret på allerede i præsentationen. Men jeg tænkte på, om vi skulle gå videre med at tale lidt om vores bedste tips eller vores erfaringer i forhold til at bruge Kenevo-knædet, Pau.
Det synes jeg er en rigtig god idé. Og jeg tænker, at måske så skulle Tommy have lov til at lægge ud med sit allerbedste tip. Og så, Christian, kan du jo følge lige bagefter.
Yep. I would say we need to describe the function, not in super detail, but the user needs to understand the basic of the processes, how it works. It's the same driving in a car. You don't need to know how the engine is working, but you need to know how to start the car and how to stop it. So basic understanding that we give to the patient, that will also means that they will feel the safety of the needant. And if they feel the safety of the needant, they will also dare to use it. And I will also say that there are so many studies on Kenevo that says also that the evidence is quite clear. Users, they are less afraid of falling, and they fall. Of course, you can fall with a knee joint, but it's not so often it happens. And if they fall in a controlled way. So breaking hands, hip is I would say, of course, we can break hands and hips if you fall, but if you can fall in a controlled way, then it's easier to fix the situation.
Ja, tak, Tommy. Jeg er meget enig med det, Tommy siger, især det her med fald, at det er ikke fordi, at hvis man nu har eksempelvis en protesebruger, som har gået med et mekanisk knæ og har haft nogle rigtig ubehagelige faldepisoder, at man så får dem over på et Kenevo-knæ, og de så aldrig falder. Men det, som jeg ofte hører, de siger, det er, at lige pludselig så falder de langsomt, og så når man måske at afbøde for faldet. Men mit bedste tip i forhold til at træne med protesebrugere, der bruger et Kenevo-knæ, det er at have rigtig godt styr på det, som vi kalder for kriterierne. Altså, hvad er det, der skal til? Som Tommy siger, det er faktisk et dumt knæ. Det kan ikke tænke selv, men det kan kun gøre lige præcis det, den får besked på. Så hvordan er det, vi giver den så nøjagtig besked på det, vi gerne vil have som muligt? Eksempelvis de 2 klassikere, at åbne til svinget, så man svinger med et bøjet knæ. Det som på protesesprog hedder stance release, som det ene. Og det andet, det her med at sætte sig ned. Så hvordan får vi knæet til at åbne, når man sætter sig ned, sådan, så man ikke sætter sig ned med et strakt knæ? At have styr på kriterierne for, hvad er det for nogle informationer, vi skal levere til knæet, for at det gør, som vi gerne vil. Det tror jeg, der kommer det bedste ud af. Ja.
Ja, tak for det, Christian. Og hvis jeg skulle summe mere på det, du lige har sagt, så hvis man sådan skal tage det helt ned i det fuldstændig lavpraktiske, så kunne man sige, at hvis man ønsker, at borgere skal have stance release, når de går, eksempelvis når de går lige ud, eller når de går ned af en ikke særlig stejl hældning, så de skal åbne deres knæ med et stance release, så er det jo vigtigt, at de har vægtbæring på benet, og at de har strakt knæ og hofte, altså numsen ind, og at de går med skridt over skridt, altså det ene ben foran det andet. Det kunne man sådan lidt kort sige. Jeg plejer at sige til borgerne, træd på benet, rul hen over foden, hold numsen inden. Det er sådan meget lægmandssprog, noget man kan forholde sig til. Og mange protesebrugere, eller ikke mange protesebrugere, men de protesebrugere, jeg har haft, som har haft lidt udfordringer med at nå i stance release, fordi de kommer til det, som Tommy siger netop med, at de løfter hoften og svinger benet igennem på et strakt ben, jamen så har jeg et lille tip om at tage et meget farvestrålende stykke tape, det kunne være Kenevo tape, og sætte det ude på tåspidsen, og så bede protesbrugeren om at når de træder på benet i standfasen og ruller hen over foden, at de simpelthen ruller helt ud til det farvestrålende tape. Så det her med, at man ikke får stoppet standfasen, inden den er til endebragt, altså inden man kommer helt til terminal stance og pre-swing, fordi det har vi brug for at få knæleddet til at virke. Så det kunne måske være et af mine tip, som ofte kan give lidt bøvl, når man gerne vil nå helt ud og få stance release, og man ligesom får stoppet standfasen lidt for tidligt og får lavet hofteopdragning, cirkumduktion med videre. Og så hvis vi skal give et fjerde tip, og det er jo altid bonus, når man har lidt god tid og 1 minut tilbage, så er det husk nu at få jeres borgere ikke bare ned på gulvet, men også få lært dem, hvordan de kommer op fra gulvet. Det er simpelthen et af Christian og mine kæpheste. Det er, lær nu alle jeres borgere sikkert at komme op fra gulvet. Hvad enten det er ude midt i lyskrydset, om det er på en græsplæne, eller det er derhjemme mellem møblerne. Det tror jeg, vi stopper med at sige. Det var alt for de gode råd i dag. Så her til sidst, så vil jeg egentlig bare sige tusind tak for jeres tid. Tak for jeres engagement i dagens webinar. En stor tak til dig, Tommy, for din præsentation og for din ekspertise, du øser ud af. Tak til dig, Christian, for at styre chatten. Tak for jer, der har kigget med og stillet spørgsmål. Hvis I har yderligere spørgsmål, eller I har ønsker om andre kurser, webinar eller lignende, så kan I skrive til os på rehabilitering@sava.dk. Det kan være, at Christian lige smider linket inde i chatten. rehabilitering@sava.dk. Jeg har lagt et lille link ind omkring vores kommende kurser og webinar, som I kan læse mere om. I næste uge, der er der et gratis webinar omkring ortosen, KFO'en med C-brace, og ellers så er der amputationskurser lige om hjørnet. Så nu er der bare tilbage at sige tusind tak til alle sammen for i dag, og vi glæder os til at se jer igen. Hej!
Tak for nu.